Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Chapter 5 Change and Development in Industrial Society. And our topic is working conditions. We all want power, a solid house, clothes, and other goods. But we should remember that these come to us because someone is working to produce them, often in very bad conditions. The government has passed a number of laws to regulate working conditions. Let us look at mining, where a number of people are employed. Coal mines alone employ 5.5 lakh workers. The Mines Act 1952 specifies the maximum number of hours a person can be made to work in a week. The need to pay overtime for any extra hours worked, and safety rules. These rules may be followed in the big companies, but not in smaller mines and quarries. Moreover, subcontracting is widespread. Many contractors do not maintain proper registers of workers, thus avoiding any responsibility for accidents and benefits. After mining has finished in an area, the company is supposed to cover up the open holes and restore the area to its earlier condition, but they do not do this. Workers in underground mines face very dangerous conditions due to flooding, fire, the collapse of roofs and sides, the emission of gases, and ventilation failures. Many workers develop breathing problems and disease like tuberculosis and silicosis. Those working in overground mines have to work in both hot sun and rain and face injuries due to mine blasting, failing objects, etc. The rate of mining accidents in India is very high compared to other countries. In many industries, the workers are migrants. The fish processing plants along the coastline employ mostly single young women from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala. 10-12 of them are housed in small rooms, and sometimes one shift has to make way for another. Young women are seen as submissive workers. Many men also migrate singly, either unmarried or leaving their families in the village. In 1992, 85% of the 2 lakh Oriya migrants in Surat were single. These migrants have little time to socialize, and whatever little time and money they can spend is with other migrant workers from a nation of interfering joint families. The nature of work in a globalized economy is taking people in the direction of loneliness and vulnerability. Yet, for many young women, it is also represents some independence and economic autonomy. Now, the next point is home based work. Home based work is an important part of the economy. This includes the manufacture of lace, jari, or brocade, carpets, beedis, agarbattis, and many such products. This work is mainly done by women and children. An agent provides raw materials and also picks up the finished product. Home workers are paid on a piece rate base, depending on the number of pieces they make. Let us look at the beedi industry. The process of making beedis starts in forested villages, where villagers pluck tendu leaves and sell it to the forest department, or a private contractor who in turn sells it to the forest department. On average, a person can collect 100 bundles of 50 leaves each a day. The government then auctions the leaves to beedi factory owners who give it to the contractor. The contractor in turn supplies tobacco and leaves to home based workers. These workers, mostly women, roll the beedies, first damping the leaves, then cutting them, filling in tobacco evenly, and then lying them with thread. The contractor picks up these beedies and sells them to the manufacturers who roast them and puts on his own brand label. The manufacturer then sells them to a distributor who distributes the packed beedies to wholesalers, who in turn sell to your neighborhood pawn shops. In this process, the manufacturer gets the maximum amount because of the image of the brand, showing the power of images. Now, let us move to the next point: strikes and unions. Many workers are part of trade unions. Trade unions in India have to overcome a number of problems, such as regionalism and casteism. Datta Ishwakar, a mill worker, described how caste had been overcome, but not entirely, in the Bombay mills. They would sit and chew pan with him. Vishnu, a Mahar worker in the modern mills, but they would not drink water from his hands. They never treated him badly. They were friends with him, but they would never go to his house or eat out of a lunch box bought by any of the Mahars. The funny thing is, the Marathi workers were unable to judge the caste of the North Indian workers, so they could not practice untouchability with them. In response to the harsh working conditions, sometimes workers went on strike. In the strike, workers do not go to work. In a lock out of management shuts the gate and prevents workers from coming. To call a strike is a difficult decision, as managers may try to use substitute labor. Workers also find it hard to sustain themselves without wages. Let us look at one famous strike, the Bombay Textile Strike of 1982, which was led by the trade union leader Dr. Datta Samant and affected nearly 250,000 workers and their families. The strike lasted nearly 2 years. The workers wanted better wages and also wanted the right to form their own union. According to Bombay Industrial Relation Act BIRA, a union had to be approved, and the only way it could be approved was if it gave up the idea of strikes. The Congress led Rashtriya Mill Mazdoor Sangh RMMS was the only approved union, and it helped to break the strike by bringing in other workers. The government also refused to listen to the workers' demand. Slowly, after 2 years, people started going back to work because they were desperate. Nearly 1 lakh workers lost their jobs and went back to their villages or took up casual labor. Others moved to smaller towns like Bhilwandi, Malegaon, and Ichakranji to work in the powerloom sectors. Mill owners did not invest in machinery and modernization. Today, they are trying to sell off the mill land to real estate dealers to build luxury apartments, leading to a battle over who will define the future of Bombay, the workers who built it or the mill owners and the real estate agents. Now let us wind up the session, and we have come to the end of the chapter. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self learning podcast.